this goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? About like men set the standard and women police each other around men's standards, right? Like I think I think it's interesting that it circles back to that, right? Because men will delegate a lot to women. Like let's not pretend that men don't. Like that man may not know how to wash like the floorboards, but if they're not washed, he's gonna point that out. And there will be some amount of shaming from another woman. Oh girl, you didn't do that. You're not keeping his house clean. Like men set this standard. They don't care about what the process is to maintain it. They delegate that to other women so that women can have these conversations and work that out on how that's going to get fixed. They don't concern themselves with the detail. To them, it's presentable, it's not. What you need to go from A to B, y'all figure it out. And I think that's it's interesting how we do that to each other as women. We literally were like, "Yep, I got you. Let me go tell this woman about herself to make sure that your standards are being met." Like I think it's really interesting. Like if men didn't have that standard of weaves looking more natural as women, would we actually care? Would you really care if your sister was wearing a wig that looked like, the hairline didn't look so natural or it was denser than what her normal hair is?
I would absolutely, because I'm not walking on the street with her like that. I've told my sister.
I just wouldn't want her to look bad. Like I would just say, I would want you to, do better for yourself.
Stay home, sis. I'll be back. I'm gonna go by myself and come back.
But that's my point. How do you know it looks bad? Like who told you it looks bad?
You can see it.
No, because Shantae, your hairline is thicker than mine at the front.
Let me see about this hairline.
Natural, right?
Look, this hairline was not always popular because my girlfriend used to say, "You got those Ashanti sideburns." The side.
But that's exactly it, right? Like your hairline of your natural hair is significantly different than mine and my hairline with my natural hair, and so, like, if we were wearing wigs, would somebody look at you and say, "No, your wig looks up"?
They would be like, "Girl, you don't take that helmet off." Like they,
right. And what I'm saying is, like, when it is our natural hair and it is growing out of our head, there's this more tolerance around it, right? But the second we start to manipulate our hair, where does this standard come from that one is acceptable and what isn't? Because if you have a thick hairline and that is how your hair naturally grows, ain't no woman telling you nothing about it. Exactly. But if it is a wig that looks the same, now we gotta police each other. And so
we wish our edges look like that.
Right? And so, like, I don't know. It to me it comes from men.
So let me just say this, because you made a good point, E. Taylor, that needs to be addressed. The wigs are taking away the edges. So we need to stop, because this has never been a problem in the past. So we have to be able to blame it on something.
No, it's been a problem in the past. I remember growing up with girls with no edges.
I do not remember in the 90s people not having edges.
Because they got hormones, childbirth, all of that.
They got the relaxers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. Not in Alabama. Everybody had edges in Alabama.
Oh, and don't forget the now they have like this new perming system where you loosen your curl texture. That'd be taking out your edges too. Oh yeah, the 4C like hair community is like trying to get that, the YouTube curls. And so they're putting these perms in their hair to loosen their texture to be more attractive, to give them more length. That be taking out your edges too. You know what I mean? We've always, because we over manipulate our hair.
Yeah.
Our hair is naturally going to resist to its like taken out of its natural state, right? And so I don't know.
I think curl. It's called the Gina curl. Right?
I don't know.
I just when we get into a hair topic, that's a deep conversation.
It is, and I don't like to talk about it. I just
down the rabbit hole.
You do, but I think that black, when our hair is beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. We just don't give it enough.
But I just feel like I'm gonna call cap on a lot of black men that say, "Oh, I want you to wear your natural hair." They're okay with everybody's hair, how everybody on this panel hair look, but let it be something that's 4C. short and it's like above the shoulders and it's just like she ain't wearing no makeup. It's just boom. Like I feel like they don't praise that hair type.
Yeah.
They praise the hair type that's the loose. I never forget when I went natural.
Racially
yeah, ambiguous hair. They're like, oh, wear your natural hair curly, and then when you wear it curly, your curls are coils. They tight and they short, and your shrinkage, and they like that's not what. No, why don't you straighten your hair? Like then now it's a different conversation. I'll never forget. It was a black man. And it was this couple, and we were talking about our natural hair. And she goes, I want to be natural one day. And he goes, no, you better put that perm on your head, girl. He did. He told her that. He said, you better keep perming that hair. Don't be trying to do natural stuff. So do they really like natural hair, or do they like natural hair like oh my gosh, you keep saying your name wrong. Ina's.
So I have naturally curly hair. Like I have like 3C hair, which
but
means
that's the hair that they like.
It's like a 2A, because you know what? Like as long as my natural hair is, when it's in its curly state, it doesn't reach my shoulders. It doesn't. I gotta straighten it to get my little length check and like trim my ends. It doesn't come past my shoulders when it's curled up. And now I don't have 4C hair, right? Because with 4C hair, there's even more shrinkage, right? It's this illusion that it's short hair. And that's why women are pressured to press their hair, relax their hair, wear wigs. Because if you're doing that type of heat damage, your ends be running see-through.
Okay, that's what happens.
And then you get called raggedy, right? And so like it's like these beauty standards are like so impossible to keep up with. Like I will straighten my hair maybe once a quarter. And yes, it's financial terms, but like I try as much as possible not to do it, because my hair really does grow thick and healthy when it's a natural state. But that I've noticed, and I don't know if y'all have noticed this, depending on the texture I wear my hair, depending on whether I'm wearing a wig, because I wear wigs, it attracts a different kind of man. Every time. Absolutely. It's and it's wild to me, because like my face doesn't change.
Right.
If I don't wear makeup with straight hair, I don't wear makeup with curly hair. If I wear makeup with curly hair, I wear makeup with straight hair. My body doesn't change. I haven't modified my body in any sort of way. And not to shame anybody who does, all the power to you. Who I am hasn't changed, but the men that I attract, depending on how I wear my hair, will absolutely change.
Yeah, that's very true. Because
I agree with it.
I want to call something out right quick.
Okay.
This makes my point. Wrong B. Taylor, Holly Berry, biracial. Nia Long, her hair was straight and permed and slick. Than Dewey Newton, I just looked her up. She's also biracial looking. You guys are capping. That's like you couldn't name. Look, you didn't say Lupita. You didn't say Lupita hair.
Right.
But you know what?
This is a perfect example.
You know what? Back in the day, that kind of reminds me with the Nia Long statement. Back in the day, like we had the Toni Braxton's, like, but their hair was they cut it so short, but it was like a cute, short haircut, and maybe that's what he's referring to. But even with that, my head is too big for that. If you ever meet me in person, I got a big head.
But you couldn't see their texture. You couldn't see their texture. That's the thing. You could not tell what kind of texture. I'm talking about short afro, like Lupita had, like the short afro hair. Not because if you have that type of 4C hair, they want it to be big, right? They want it to be long. But when it's like short and it's like above your ear, it doesn't go past your ear, that's not what they're praising. They don't want to see your texture. So they're
maybe they want it styled.
But that is a style. That's wearing your natural hair. What's wrong? Why do you have to style it?
I see what you're saying.
If you really want us to wear our natural hair, then why do we have to, Black women, why do we have to stretch our hair? Why are we doing the twist outs? Why are we stretching our hair? Because we want that length to show, I want them to see that my hair is long, and it's, Like we're always fighting with our hair and humidity because it shrinks up our hair. It ruins the curl pattern with the twist outs and the curls, that the rollers and stuff like that. We do that for a reason, because us just wearing it in its wild state and how it naturally grows out, that's not praised among men and women in our community. We look at it like, why she ain't comb her hair? She ain't moisturize it. And it's like, it is moisturized. That's how it naturally looks. So there is a bias when it comes down to natural hair. So when I hear a lot of these men say, we want y'all to wear y'all natural hair. No, you don't. You want certain women to wear their natural hair.
Because I was even thinking about how they got on Blue Ivy. You remember how she used to wear her hair like natural?
Yep.
She was a little girl.
Yeah.
So much criticism about this child wearing her hair in its natural form. Like, what do you want her to do? She's a child.
Exactly. And it was women and men talking about that little girl hair. And look, her hair is longer than all the people that was talking about her now.
So not only that, but I think so I'm going to speak to my own personal experience. My hair texture, nobody else in my family has. I never learned how to care for my natural hair texture. That process, most people don't talk about how strenuous of a process it is to learn to care for your specific, not only pattern, but texture too, right? And so as I'm navigating through it, stuff works and stuff doesn't. But there was so much criticism on the days it didn't work. You didn't do your hair today. You can figure out something to do with. There's so much criticism. There's no grace for hey, I didn't learn to take care of my natural hair until I was into my 20s. Because I had, my hair was thicker than this growing up, and it was down to my tailbone. And my parents were like, we're not dealing with this. So they just slapped a perm on there. They slapped a relaxer on there because it was more manageable to them. When I decided to go natural, they couldn't help me because they'd never they hadn't dealt with my natural hair in forever. And my friends weren't helpful because their hair texture wasn't the same as mine. Their curl pattern wasn't the same as mine. And it was just this constant criticism. There was no grace of you know what, she's still learning. And the YouTube girls didn't have my kind of hairstyle, my hair when I was at that point, right? These young girls now, there's so much diversity when it comes to hair and hair care now that it's different. But when I was trying to grow up with the YouTube girls, I had to figure out, this girl with 2C hair, is what she's doing going to work for me? And it didn't. It really didn't. And it was a hot mess a lot of the time.